I am Glay Koenig, and I am a TOSA in Innovation and Learner Engagement, and this is my wonderful team. There are 4 TOSAs, and Jennifer Pfeffer is our Digital Learning Specialist, and we all work together to promote utilizing the digital tools in your classroom. So please reach out to us if you have any questions or anything like that. And if you haven't heard before, we are able to come to your PLCs. So if there's something specific that you and your team are interested in, feel free to reach out to us, and we would be glad to come and support you in whatever capacity it is that your team is interested in. What's your favorite question type? So if you wouldn't mind just briefly in the chat, just type in there what thus far, for those of you that have had the opportunity to use it, what is your favorite question type that you're using with your students? All right, so what we're going to do, like I had mentioned, we're going to talk about Immersive Reader, but we're also going to talk a little bit more about the difference between the Pear Deck add-on and the website. We briefly touched on that last session, but we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. And we're going to learn about the ways to end your session and how to name them. And then we'll talk about creating and sharing our student takeaways. And then if time allows us, we will take a look at the teacher dashboard. If we don't get to that, then we will visit that in the deeper dive session, which is scheduled for 2 weeks. And as always, we want to make a connection to what we're doing, our work, and how it connects to Ms. Hill's Big 4+3. So as we all know, our district is really working on improving our student learning. And most of these tools that we're going to use today, or all of these tools that we're going to use today, really do target that, specifically by allowing for independence, using grade level standards, higher level thinking, and of course the on-the-spot intervention. So Pear Deck is a really great tool to target everything that we are looking at for our students and our district goals. But additionally, our team specifically, we are focusing on the ISTE standards, which are the International Standards of Technology. And as you can see, it really focuses on learners, leaders, citizens, collaborators, and designers. This PD specifically falls under the foundational tools. And this is really great for establishing those effective learning tools for your students in the classroom using those digital skills. Add-on versus the Pear Deck website. So hopefully by this point you have all had the opportunity to add the extension onto your slides. If you have not yet done that, it's very simple. If you open up one of your slide decks, you're going to click on the extensions, then you'll click add-ons, and if you have not already added the Pear Deck add-on, you will have the option to do that there. If you have, then you will see it appear here, and then it will ask you to open your Pear Deck add-on. Now, in the past, the website allowed you to create Pear Decks directly from the website. Since their update, they no longer allow that. You will see an option there, and all it does is it sends you to a slide deck basically explaining to you what I just shared. So when you do want to create a Pear Deck, you do want to start from the start from Google Slides. You can, however, take some of the pre-created activities, which we'll show you, where you can create them there on the website. Now let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And this is really where we're going to dive into the specific Pear Deck website. For those of you that have not ever used it before or seen it, it is actually peardeck.com, but it comes up as app.peardeck.com. So if you just simply click on this link right here, it will take you directly to Pear Deck. And this is what you will see when you get to that page. So from the Pear Deck website, you can log in. You can look at Pear Deck pop-up activities. Those are ones that change seasonally. There's a thing called a Pear Deck vocabulary. And for those of you that are participating in the next session called the Deeper Dive, we are going to dive into the Pear Deck vocabulary. The sessions that I mentioned for you, then there's the Content Orchard. This is also where people go to join a session. So this is where your students will go. And then there's also additional resources. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the Pear Deck website, and if you guys don't mind doing the same, opening it up, and I'm just going to model where you can find different things live here on the home page. This is what the Pear Deck website looks like, and if you can see, we have our basic here. There's support, signing up. This is where we're going to log in, and then this is where your students would join a session, or you could join a session. You can also see that there's multiple resources located here for you as well. We don't need to worry about the pricing because the district is taking care of that for us. But there's also some really great resources. I think we previewed this video before, and it's showing you the different ways to work it. And then here's also some inspirations. This is a great place to go because this is what's constantly updating and changing. So anything new or exciting that Pear Deck is offering, this is where you will find that, just scrolling down at the bottom. But if you could all begin by clicking the teacher login, we'll go ahead and click on that. And if you were a previous Pear Deck user, you might notice that the website has changed. They have done quite a few updates. So this is what it looks like when you initially log in. So we'll go ahead and start over here to the left where it talks about the Launchpad. And you can see here that there's an option for a district library. If you click on that, you can see that we have some wonderful teachers here in the district who have created Pear Decks and have shared them. Most of them look like they are from Pear Deck Factory, the Vocabulary Factory, which we will go over next time. But it looks like there are a few other resources. So this is great. If it's something that you're interested in doing, you do have the option of sharing Pear Decks that you create as well with the district. And you would simply do that by publishing a lesson right here. Additionally, there is the public library. And this is information that's been created by Pear Deck, but also teachers from around the world. So this can get a little bit overwhelming. So it is nice that they have embedded the ability to break down the lessons by grade level, by subject matter, and then also, again, a little bit more specific if you wanted SEL, teacher lessons, that kind of thing. So there really is a lot of time for you to look in here and customize what it is that you're looking for your students. So go ahead and take about 2 minutes to kind of explore, look through, and let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll give you guys about 2 to 3 minutes. So hopefully you guys have had an opportunity to explore this and kind of see some of your options that are here. Something that I did want to point out pretty quickly is that you notice that it says the district library here, and it pops up here. When you click over to the public library, it's actually referring to the content orchard. So the public library and the content orchard are one in the same. Something else I will mention, I'm sure if those of you that did explore, you were able to see that if you found something that you were interested in, you just click on it and you can make a copy to your drive. And then again, these are 100% customizable. So this one, for example, is a template. So you can just use this template, save it to your drive, and then utilize it in whatever way that you want. So it's that simple to take advantage of using. Something else I'm going to point out, and we will come to this a little bit later, is we do have our session history. And so this is where, if you've ever done a Pear Deck before and you're wondering where it's gone, this is where you're going to find it. It will show those that are active as well as those that have been archived. And as I mentioned, we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper and explain that. Before, as I was mentioning, you could create a lesson directly from Pear Deck, but this is the message that you get when you click on that now. So it basically just shows you how to do it directly in Google Slides. So unfortunately, you can no longer do that directly from there. And then the giant steps is something new, and actually we hope to dive into that next time, as well as the flashcard factory. So here is the basics of your Launchpad for when you do log into the website. dive into the wonderful tool that's known as the Immersive Reader. The Immersive Reader is actually something that was created by Microsoft, and it is an add-on that is embedded into several of the tools that we actually use in the district, Pear Deck being one, but also Flipgrid, and it is also available in code.org. So if you use any of those sites, what you experience today can also be found in those digital tools as well. So Immersive Reader is really great because it's great for UDL lessons. It's especially great for our EL students, students that have 504s, students that have IEPs, and it's also a great tool for scaffolding that is 100% customizable for every student. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the volume up and let you guys try this right here. All right, so when the student clicks on the little book that's located at the bottom, here's what happens.
What is a yurt? A traditional yurt or gur is a portable, round tent covered with skins or felt and used.
Okay, so you notice that it's immediately reading it for the student. And as you can see, it's framing word by word. If you click down here, I can change the voice settings. So let's say I wanted it to read faster. I don't know why I would want to do that, but I could.
Used as a dwelling by several distinct nomadic.
Okay. Additionally, I can change the voice from a male to a female.
Groups in the steppes of Central Asia.
Okay. Again, I can slow it down a lot slower.
Asia. The structure consists of an angled assembly or lattice work of wood or bamboo for walls, a door.
Okay, so that's just the basics. That's just like an entry point for your students. So hopefully you guys are automatically seeing already how great this is. All right, now here comes the power of customization, and that is located right here at the top. So if you click on this, it allows you to increase or decrease the font size. You can add spacing or decrease the spacing, and you can change the fonts. Currently, there is only the 3 options here. For those students that have that need visual displays, you can choose the multiple colors, and as you can see, it'll overlay the color to help with the eyes with the vision. So there's multiple options here for the students. And who knows, maybe some students just like different colored backgrounds. That's an option for them too. All right, so here is this part of it. Now, if you click on the middle here, there's some really great grammar options. So this is great for your ELs, but also, you know, 4th graders when we're, or 1st graders even when we're talking about syllabication. You can click this here and it will break the words down by syllables and it will read it for them.
A traditional yurt or gur is a portable, round tent covered with skins or felt and.
Okay, so there's that option. But if you're also working on your parts of speech and you guys are focusing specifically on nouns, you can toggle that on and you notice that this is purple. So now all of the verb or all of the nouns have been highlighted in purple. This also is customizable. So all you have to do is click the drop down. So let's say in your class, all of your nouns are blue. You simply change that color. Same thing with verbs. You can see that it's all color coordinated, adjective, adverbs. So again, this really is another great tool to help the students to visually see, but also to be able to read the different parts of the words. And finally, this book reading option helps you look at line focus. So when we turn that on, you can see I have it marked at 1 word. So when if the student has visual needs, you can narrow it down sentence by sentence. You could do 3 sentences at a time, or you could do 5. Or if you click this off, then it just gives you the entire paragraph. Another great piece for our students that are EL learners or even students that like those visual connections, it will actually, if it does have an image in the word, some of them have tent, like it'll show you the imagery of the word. So like tent right here, you can see if they're not sure what the word is, they can hover over it. And some of them do have these visual clues embedded, and then it'll read the word
Tent.
again. So those are another great opportunity for students to see that visual piece, especially for our ELs. Not all of the words have it, but there is a large number of words that do have that option. Now, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys, so does anybody have any questions? Okay, all right, and then let me go back to this final piece, and then I'll let you guys experience this. All right, and then of course the ability to change the language. So you can translate up to 63 languages here. So let's take, for example, if we were going to translate it into Spanish, you would just click on that. And it asks you, do you want the translation to be by word, or do you want to translate the entire document? So the great thing is, as you notice here, it'll say original. You can, the students can toggle back and forth. So if they wanted to hear it originally in English, and then they wanted to hear it in Spanish, then they have the ability to look at both of those. So again, like I said, this is such an amazing tool, and it's wonderful for the students. So I would like for you guys to take a moment and experience this. Hey, so hopefully you guys had a chance to experience this a little bit. Is anybody interested or willing to share what they experienced, or how they think this might be a benefit to their students?
Sorry, I'm like walking through from my classroom, but I liked how you can break it down by the syllables, because we're working like on Gateway, like kind of finding it. So it's kind of like already done, because it's kind of hard for them to distinguish between like the vowels and the consonants. So I kind of like how they can see if it's an open or closed syllable, kind of like visually. So I like that part.
Very good. Yeah, that's a great example. Very good. Yeah, I see some of you guys are saying that you like the idea of using this with the ELs. And yeah, that visual piece that it adds for some of the vocabulary words, I think is a great piece that embeds as well. And then the ability to change the language back and forth so they can hear it both in English, but also in their native tongue. I think that's another great benefit as well. So, and like I mentioned before, this is embedded in Flip. So for those of you that use that, also in code.org, and then obviously here in Pear Deck. So there are several other tools that have this as an option as well. One thing I did want to mention is that because this is customizable to every student, for those students that are going to use it, especially if you have the littles, you're going to have to help them set this up for them. So obviously, if you have older students, you can just show them how to use the tool once or twice, and then they can take advantage of it. But for your younger students, you will have to help them with the setting it up, basically is what I'm trying to spit out. So anyways, I wanted to point that out. And again, thank you guys for sharing. Good. Evan says he'll probably use this tomorrow. Okay, how do you add this to your slides? Oh, funny that you should ask, Melinda, because that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So let me go ahead and take us back over to the slides, and I will show you how to do that. Okay, so to do that, if you go back to the Pear Deck website where we were before, what you're going to do is you're going to log in, and you're going to click on your image. And then what you're going to do is slide down to settings, and then you'll go over here to Immersive Reader, and all you have to do is toggle it from off to on. So once you do that, it is completely available on every slide. You don't have to do anything else after that. So let me go ahead and just model that for you live, and then you guys can do that as well. So again, you're just going to go to the Pear Deck website, and then you're going to log in here to your teacher login. Then you'll go right here again to your image at the top right, click on that, and then click on settings. And then this opens this up here. So a few other things I will point out to you guys is that classroom climate, that's the one where when the students enter every one of your sessions, they have this option. So you can turn that off if you wanted to. It looks like you can ask for mood only and or just feedback. So you do have the ability to customize that also. And then here is where the Immersive Reader is. So some of you, most of you will have it toggled to off, and then all you have to do is click that to on, and it will appear in your Pear Decks moving forward. Additionally, some of you guys may not have given permission to embed your Pear decks directly into Google Classroom. If you haven't done that and you are considering using Pear Deck, I would highly recommend that you turn this on also, because it makes your life so much easier. So if that is not on, consider doing that also. And then this is something down here at the bottom where it says student logins. This is something that was established by the district. So this should already be on, and it should be set to the current settings that it should be at. Obviously, we're a Google district. And then these were the previous extension for email. So both of those are there in case for some reason a student or someone's still using the old platform. So anyways, that's what you will find here in the settings. So literally turning it on is that simple. So first thing is it can get a little bit confusing. Like I mentioned before, like where do I go when I've already completed a session? Where is it found? So it's found in a couple different places. Again, going back here to the Pear Deck website, over here at your launch pad, if you look over here to the left, you're going to click on session history. And this will display all of the sessions that you have done, unless you have archived it. If you've archived it, you can see there's a little tab right here, and you can see all of these Pear decks that I have archived. But your current active ones are just listed here under this tab. So what I'm going to do is break down each of the segments, because it can get a little bit confusing. Obviously the date, that's clear. Okay, so then let's look at the status. And if you notice that the current one was in a student paste, and as we had talked before, there's student paste and instructor paste. If it is in student paste, it will be identified as such. If it is in instructor paste, or it's currently live, you can see that it's green and it's live. And for those that are closed, you can see that that's closed. So those are the different color variations that you will see. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing. You notice that there's a session name, but then there's also a file name. I bring this out because for those of you that teach multiple classes, this is where it's going to become valuable for you. So if you created a slide deck or a Pear deck that you wanted to use in multiple classrooms, but you only wanted to receive those responses by classroom, this is where the session name comes in. So for example, if you were using this file, this is the file name. By the way, I didn't say this, so I'm sorry for that. The file name is the name of the slide deck that you created. That is how you find it in your Google Classroom. Or I'm not in your Google Classroom, in your Google Drive. So if you went to your Google Drive and you looked up this file name, this is what you would find. Your session name is what is going to be found in here. So again, if you taught multiple classes, you might name it, this session period 1, but you use this file. The next one might be period 2, but then you would use this file. So I hope that makes sense. Is that clear, or is that confusing? Can I explain that a little bit better? I just want to make sure that everybody understands that. So again, the file name is the name of the file that you created with your slides that you will find in your Google Drive. This is the session name here. And you notice I don't name the sessions because I don't have multiple periods, but just for fun as an example, I did give it a name. So right here, since I didn't have a name, I could open the session back up if I wanted to. I could also give it a name. Additionally, you will notice that there are these 3 images here. So this, if you hover over it, it usually tells you what it is. But this says, if I wanted to open this in another window, I could simply click on that. So here is that year 1 that I shared with you. And again, notice that the join code is always here in the top. That is a disadvantage. So I will note that to you guys also. When you are in here and you go to your sessions, and if you click on, like I just did this here, it actually takes this tab and it opens it, so it closes the Pear deck session. So that's what happened here. You can see if you did have this open and you wanted to look and you wanted it just to open up your teacher dashboard, this is what you would see here. And then as we know with everything, the 3 dots always mean more. So if you click on that, As we talked about before, you can switch it from a student pace to an instructor pace. So you can do that right here. You can end the session. You can give that session a name, or you can archive it. So for example, if I wanted to name this session, I could give it today's date and change the name. And then you'll notice here that my session name has changed. So again, this is what the three different buttons mean. The reason that you don't see this here for these is that these sessions are closed. So I obviously can't open it in another tab because it's not open. However, clicking the three dots does allow me to reopen the session. So if there's ever something that you accidentally closed and you wanted to reopen it, this is where you would go. Thing that we've kind of talked about, and let me zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. So we can rename it, we can open the session, we can archive it. The student takeaways and the reflect and review, this is where you'll find this. But additionally, if you did use your Pear Deck as an assessment and you wanted to export this to a spreadsheet, their responses, so let's say you did like a number response or an alphabet response, short answer, whatever, it will embed it to a spreadsheet to help you guys grade it quickly. So that is another option that is there for you as well. So as I mentioned before, I did put everything here in the slide so that if you do or try to experience this on your own and you forgot what it was, I did try to take screenshots to show you guys step by step on how to do each of these things on your own. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the student takeaways.
After students have left all these insightful answers, you probably want to give them a record of their work to review later. That's what Pear Deck student takeaways are for. First, make sure to end your session and name it. Consider including the class name, section, and date for easy categorization. Make sure to check the box that says Publish Student Takeaways. When you publish student takeaways, you'll get a link to a brand new folder in Google Drive. Inside that folder will be a personal document for each student who joined the session. The documents have already been shared with the appropriate student, and an email has been sent to them. You can also paste the link in your LMS. When a student clicks the link, it will take them directly to their personal document. For homework, you can tell students to review their takeaway and reflect on what was challenging or what they learned in the spaces provided. Anytime you want to find your takeaways, you can look in your Drive for your takeaways folder. The takeaways are always grouped by presentation and date. You can leave student feedback by leaving a comment in the doc. You can also share the doc with parents or tutors to help them better guide the student outside of class.
Guys have ever used this before, or is there anybody that's ever used this before or was aware that it was even there? Anybody? No? And this is another great piece that allows for students to have that experience because it provides students with a response basically of everything or how they responded. And again, it's personalized, so they only receive their responses. If you go back to the Google Classroom that we were in, I'm going to go ahead. Geez, now of course it's going to work. If you go back to the Google Classroom, I did share with you guys an example of what a student takeaway looks like. So let me show you what that looks like. I believe it's directly underneath the Pear Deck. All right, right here. Here's a sample of the student takeaways. what the students get to see when they're looking. Again, it'll tell you the name of the session, it'll give their name, and then it'll give the date of what it was. And then this right here at the top is a summary. So actually this section is always left blank. So this is a great place for your students to take notes, like a reflective note on the lesson that they just experienced. So if you use this with your students and you pushed it out to them immediately, this could be a great place to reflect. So after you see the summary, if you scroll down a little bit further, it will give a snippet of what the slide was and what they were asked to do, and then it'll show them how they responded. So as you can see, this is a different slide deck that I had used before, but you can see how what the question was and how they responded. So if you even are using a drawing feature, you can see that the drawing is embedded in there as well. So all of their responses are given. Now, again, because this is a Google document, you do have that option of adding your comments right here next to that and leaving a note for the students. So this is a great way for it to be interactive, but also if the students wanted to share with each other, it was a group project or something like that. So there is a lot of flexibility with the student takeaways. And there's a lot of power to it too, because again, it can be just a reflection tool, it can be a review piece, it could be in a homework extension. So again, a lot of flexibility for that also. All right. It says, how do you add this to the slides on the Pear deck? Okay, great question. So basically, this is what you get when a session is closed out. And so when the session is closed out, as it showed in the video, let me go back to the Pear deck website, but when you go back to the website and you're closing it out and it gives you those reflection pieces, then it will email it to the students. Okay, so here in my session history. All right, so if I go over here right now and I end this session, this is the one we did today, you'll notice that there's the option to review and reflect. So if I click on that, this is where it is how you're going to share it. So you can generate the takeaways, and if you do it this way, then this automatically goes to their Google Drive. Or you have the option to share it to Google Classroom. And again, this is 100% customizable. So if you do share it to the Google Classroom, it only gets sent to that student. So another student is not going to get access to someone else's responses. Google Classroom only gives them access to how they responded. Let me go back over here. I wasn't sharing the right tab, so I apologize. What I was saying is that here is where it shows me the individual students tab, and then this is where you would leave the feedback. You click on that, you type your response, and then the student can see that. Sorry, I didn't click on the right tab. All right, any other questions regarding this? I think for today, since we are running short on time, I am not going to go ahead and dive into the teacher dashboard. I noticed that many of you guys did sign up for the deeper dive, which is in 2 weeks. So we will definitely cover that during that session. However, if you are not coming, the information that we'll go over is partly in here. So you can see that as an option for you to review as well. But before we finish, I do want to open it up to see if you guys have any other questions before we end the session today.